Sons of Kryos.
Hi, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Judd. And we are the Sons of Kryos. All right.
Oh, we get a little better at that each time, huh?
Yeah, it's we gotta work on our hand signals because they can't see us, so we can do little hand signals to coordinate that a little better. Maybe we'll see. We'll work on it. Yeah, we've got a full show for you today. I think we're gonna launch off into talking about last week's Get Your Geek On-a-thon 4.
Yeah, that we do that every quarter, and so far it's had a really good turnout for our area.
Yeah, it's been good. This last one was the best one yet. I'm really pleased with this last one. The one before that was a little bit of a weak turnout, and I think we had 2 tables of gamers, and this one was just rocking. I was really pleased. We had 4 games slated. We had Urban Arcana, DM'd by John, who is a local anthropology. I believe he's a professor.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's a doctoral student or he's a full-on professor. I'm not really sure which.
Wow.
But yeah, he's a rocking guy.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, he ran a game that was it was interesting. It seemed like it was set in during a kind of magical electoral race, and it was cool. I liked what the write-up had to say. It sounded like fun. And John always runs with He always plays with packed tables because he always has concepts that are fun.
Yeah, he had a huge table.
Yeah, he always does.
There was 8 people there, I think.
And he always plays right up to 8 o'clock. Like, we reserve the room from noon to 8, and I'm done by 5, and he's always done. He always takes right up till 7:45.
Wow.
And he's a good guy.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
Nice.
And we had a game GM'd by a gentleman named Bob that didn't actually go off. We always have one game. It's tradition.
The curse.
The curse of the Get Your Geek On is that we have a game that doesn't happen. And that this time, it was GURPS Fantasy by Bob. He had a couple people sign up who did not show, and he kind of got taken in by. I think he went and played in John's Urban Arcana game.
Nice.
So it was good. That's our tradition. Is when
I've been the cursed game master there before.
You were the first one.
So I started the curse.
You did with that vampire.
Yeah, Vampire the Requiem.
The Requiem.
Wow.
And you had a bunch of people sign up, and all of them no-showed.
Bailed. Yeah.
Rude. Anyway, and we also...
I'm sorry for all of you future people that should bear the curse.
Maybe you did something to those people that, and one of them cursed you.
Wow. Maybe. Maybe they really didn't like the concept of the game and just didn't, were too nice to tell me and curse me instead.
Could be. We'll have to look into that. And we'll get an exorcist in. And you ran Cat?
Yes, I ran Cat. That was
cool.
It was a great game.
Yeah. And you had a packed table too. That was a lot of cats.
I did. There was a father and his daughter. I think she was 9 years old.
Yeah.
And they played the same cat together.
Okay, they kind of shared a character.
Yeah,
that's a great thing for a father-daughter.
She rolled all the roles.
Uh-huh.
It was really cool. They had a lot of fun. When the game came to an end, the little girl was like, "Do we have to end it now?
Oh.
Can't we play more?" And
that's
I was
the sweetest thing ever.
Yeah.
That's a big compliment.
There were also a few of the
Stardom
players who really came up with some neat ideas for Cat that I had never thought of. They came up with some new cat magic. Like one of them they came up with a cat magic spell, I guess, if you would call it a spell.
Okay.
Called Cat Gravity.
All right.
Where if a cat is sitting on a human or something, the human has a really hard time getting up.
Oh.
Or if a human is carrying a cat, they can use it to make themselves seem heavier and have the human drop them.
Nice.
So yeah, really, really creative.
I could dig that.
Yeah, I gave them an advantage die right there for that.
Absolutely. That's what the advantage dice are all about.
Yep. There was another spell too. I cannot remember what it is anymore, and it was also very, very cool.
All right.
Great players. Good game.
Yeah, I was amazed how many players you supported in that game. It was great.
Yeah, it was nice. And I have to say, after our last podcast with
John Wick.
Right, John Wick, who created it,
Mm-hmm.
Wicked Dead Brewing Company, the game has really become one of my favorites. And every group that I played it in has primarily been cat lovers, but there have been a few people that aren't, and it's just, it's rocked the table almost every single time that I've had it.
I think it benefits from knowing exactly, like when people pick up that game, they know exactly what world they're in, you know? And it's strange. There's not a lot. I mean, there's Tail Chaser's song, and there's a book called The Wild Road, which are both kind of cat fantasy fiction books.
Right.
But I mean, it's not mainstream, And yet, when people pick up that game, they know what's going on, which is really interesting.
The one thing that I have talked to people about that I find really interesting is that the cat game has these explanations for all this weird stuff that cats do.
Right.
And for anybody who has owned a cat or has, spent time around a cat, you see them do all these weird things. And then here's this system that says, here's why they do this stuff. And it's like, oh, that's really neat. That's a good explanation as to why.
Awesome.
So, Judd, you ran a game at Get Your Geek On
I did
as well. You ran Burning Wheel Jihad.
Yeah, I ran the Burning Wheel setting, Burning Sands, Jihad. And, it was brutal. It was bloody, as it should be. It was excellent. The fall of Bowden George W. Washington, which I just can't stop saying. I love saying it.
Now, this is the first time you've run this at any type of con?
This is the first time I made up the characters, and it's the first time I stole some characters off of the Jihad forums.
Right.
At the Burning Wheel site at burningwheel.org. And yeah, it was stunning. They just went at it, man. It was brutal.
Was this your first time running the scenario at all?
Yeah, first time running it at all.
Oh, okay. So you didn't even try it with friends at other places beforehand?
I didn't have time.
Wow.
I didn't have time. And it was great. It went really well. I had a couple of ringers at the table. Your wife was among them.
Right.
And I will say for the record that she's one of the characters who lived. Just putting that out there. She could have died, but she lived. And
so what was the death total, Judd? I find myself oddly drawn to dead characters.
Yeah, I know. You collect them. I think you have a notch in your bag. Well, let me think. I think it might have been as many as 3 or 4 out of 8.
Wow.
But I mean, it was a PC versus PC game with a bunch of fanatics. So I mean.
So they were killing each other then?
No, yeah, that's what the whole game is about, is pointing the players at each other and just letting them sick on each other.
So you kind of stand back and watch the chaos and the
I definitely did.
Nice.
I definitely did. It was fun. Lots of duels of wits, lots of fight mechanics. One of the players tried to crash the ship they were in into the moon, but he failed his role, which was disappointing. I wanted everyone to die in that manner. That would have been cool. But
was there a colony on the moon, or was it just barren rock?
No, it was taking from American mythology, if you want to call it that. We decided, one of the players, JJ, wanted to find out, he knew that these guys worshipped their ancestors, but he wanted to know more about their religion. So I had to make a roll, and he had a skill that applied, and I just made stuff up, and I decided that their moon was called Arlington, and that is where they buried all of their ancestors.
Oh, so it was kind of a holy ground graveyard type of thing.
And they were going to crash the ship right into it.
Ooh, yeah.
It was going to be bad. It was going to be awesome. But the guy just couldn't. He slayed all of the. He just went in and just murdered everyone who was piloting the ship, and then he couldn't pilot it himself. I thought a big syndicate cruiser, that would be a difficult thing to pilot. It's not like you could just pick it up and go.
Right.
So I had to make rolls, and it wasn't important for him enough for him to spend Artha on. Yeah. So he didn't spend any Artha, so he found the roll. That's life. But I was kind of psyched for everybody to go up in a ball of glory, just nasty. But it was good. Still, either way, it was a brutal game, and it was a lot of fun.
Now I know this game. Boy, we're really getting back on the Burning Wheel thing again here. I know this game is kind of Dune inspired.
Mm-hmm.
But was there any inspiration for this particular story that you had?
In the Burning Sands book, they talk about with the nobles, who are the nobles' ancestors? Who are they? Who do they come from?
Right.
And I decided I wanted them to come from the founding fathers of America.
Nice.
So it was like George Washington. The analyst assassin was named Benjamin Franklin, and stuff like that. And I just wanted it to be. I just wanted it to be drawn from our American mythology, and I love the idea of knives and cutlasses and like the dune shields that kind of go up, and like the ozone, the whiff of ozone in the air. I love Dune, so like giving it this weird founding father tricorner hat vibe was really fun.
Yeah, I was surprised that my wife played in your game because I love Dune too, and I tried to get her to sit down and watch it once, and it just she wasn't really into it that much.
The movies kind of stink. I don't like the movies very much.
No, really?
Yeah, the book, the original Dune book is one of my favorite novels of all time. I think it might be my favorite novel of all time.
I may have to get that on audio and listen to it.
Yeah, dude. There's a really good unabridged version too.
Really?
That is read by a really good actor. So if you can track that down, rock on with your bad self.
Nice.
Get the unabridged one. If you get the abridged one, then you can't talk about Dune. It's actually the law. If you do, you have to get into a knife fight with me.
With you?
Yes, me personally.
Huh.
I have a knife.
Well, we don't have shields, though.
Well, then you better get the unabridged version. So yeah, the Get Your Geek On-a-thon was rocking. I was really pleased. There were a bunch of moments where I just sat. The game was going all on its own, and I looked around at everybody having a good time, and I was just very pleased. We actually, when we passed around the hat, you don't have to pay to play, but we pass around a hat and like take $1 from everybody,
right?
If they would so like to give. And I think we made more money than we actually needed to pay the room, and I gave it all to Odyssey.
Nice.
So it was fantastic. I was really pleased with the whole gig.
Hey, Judd. Speaking of knives, you do know what today is?
Today is Halloween.
Yes, it is.
October 31st. Why does Halloween make you think of knives, Jeff?
No reason.
Okay.
Not at all.
Just wondering. Moving on.
Yeah.
So yeah, you had a good time. Your table went well.
No, it was a lot of fun for me.
Fantastic.
I think that all of my players pretty much wanted to have the game continue on at some other point.
That's a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the game that I had created the setting that I had created for that was pretty much like a one-shot deal. And I was practicing it for running it at conventions at some point.
Yeah.
And they were, the fact that they liked it so much that they, might have wanted to continue to play it was really flattering.
Good. Rock on. All right. Shall we move on to the next topic? Or something else you want to stick on?
There was something else that we had to mention about Get Your Geek On-a-thon 4.
Oh yeah, the t-shirts?
Yeah, dude.
Oh
totally.
Yeah, your wife made the most amazing t-shirts that have a D4 on it, and strapped inside the D4 is an elf, which is of course your wife with pointy ears.
Right.
And it's just fantastic. We'll have a link to the picture of it
Actually,
on the site.
It's yeah. I'll put a link.
We'll put a link up, and it was just great. And we give a t-shirt to all of the GMs. And yeah, I'm really proud to wear those.
Yeah, I loved the picture when she came up. She had this idea, and she's like, "I need you to take a picture of me," and all this. And I was like, all right, my wife's dressing up of an elf, and I get to take a picture of her. And all right, that's fine.
Okay.
And then she put it on the t-shirt and the whole inside the die thing. It just she has very good Photoshop skills.
Yeah,
or much better than mine.
Yeah, she has mad Photoshop skills.
Yeah.
I concur. Absolutely.
So the t-shirts were awesome.
No, I'm sorry, I almost forgot. When I send out my next day thank you email, whenever Julie does one of her fantastic t-shirts, I always make sure to thank her for it. So
yeah.
And I look forward to Get Your Geek On-a-thon 6, 8, 12, and 20 when she can do other Trapped in Dice shirts. Ooh, it can become like a theme.
Yeah, but maybe it has to be some. I don't know. I don't want to decide for her, but maybe it could be something different trapped in the die.
Oh, that'd be good. I'd come over and put on pointy ears for that. Or maybe that's something private between you two with the goblin mask and the ears, and I don't want to impede.
No goblin mask, dude. We talked about this.
Maybe
it just doesn't do it for me. Sorry.
All right. Well, I think you're in denial, but that's okay.
Judd, we need to talk about fudging die rolls, man. Oh, though, you know what, though? I'm
What?
sorry. We have to break first.
All right.
We've got people who have sent us cool bumpers and...
Roll the bumper.
Hi, this is Paul Tevis from Have Games Will Travel, and you're listening to the Sons of Kryos. It's gotta be big. It'll rain blood.
And we're back.
All right. Yeah, we need to talk about fudging die rolls because it came up with last week when you were talking about the GM screen.
Right.
So
And that tool just really helps out. I think without that, it's pretty difficult.
all right, here's the deal. All right, when I used to GM, and I didn't use a GM screen very much, I used to roll all of my dice in this little pencil box, which I still have.
Oh yeah.
Remember the pencil
that.
box,
Yes.
little blue pencil box? I've had that
box,
thing.
yeah.
I've had that thing for like decades. Really, I mean, I've had it since forever. And I used to roll all my dice in there, and I would keep, when I was playing D20, I would, back in the day before we even called it D20, when it was just D&D, and that's what we played because that's what you played.
Right.
I would keep like 5 D20 in there, and I would just shake the box, open it, look at them, and then narrate what it meant when my NPCs had to make a roll, and that's my way. That was my way of keeping it from the players. And I did fudge die rolls. I would fudge die rolls to like keep the game going. But here is what I have come to about fudging die rolls. If you are fudging die rolls, the system you are running. Now, this is nothing personal. Don't take it personally. Don't get upset. You can send me nasty emails if you want.
Hold on. Let me get my knife.
All right.
Hold on.
So many knives this episode.
No, that's all right.
I feel very threatened. If you are fudging die rolls...
Go ahead and say what you want to say about D20 now.
Even a knife... No, not D20. This isn't D20. This is any system. If you are fudging die rolls, it is an indication that the system you are using is failing you. End of story. That's all I got to say. That's it. If you're fudging die rolls, your system is failing you in some very important manner. Because when you roll the dice, success should mean cool story, and failure should mean, wait for it, cool story. End of story. That's it.
What if that die roll should not mean cool story, but mean character death?
Well, Jeff, why don't you tell us, you GM killer? You whacked your own wife. Why didn't you fudge the die roll and not sleep on the couch that week? Tell me.
I could have too.
You
I could have had but it wasn't a die roll. It was totally a role play thing.
There was no die rolls when you killed your wife?
She did. Oh.
You just GM'd fiated your wife's death? You are a fiend from hell.
We're not really gonna drag.
Yes, I am. You didn't even roll dice. She didn't even try to get away.
I need a lawyer.
We are gonna have the trial of Jeff for the murder of his wife's PC. That's it. We're gonna have to do it. Javon can come. He's a buddy of ours, and he can be the judge. And we will have representation, and you'll have a lawyer. You'll have to decide who among your friends will be your lawyer. You didn't even roll dice. I can't believe you. You're nuts, dude. You're a tyrant. So yeah,
hold on.
Character death. All right, here's an example, Jeff. I mean, here's an in-game example. At the Get Your Geek On-a-thon, a couple, I think maybe 2 or 3, you played in the Dogs in the Vineyard with me,
right.
And your character got into a conflict that involved guns, which is the conflict in Dogs where it means you could die. And you can always back out. It's your choice to take Fallout in Dogs in the Vineyard.
Right.
And you chose to take Fallout, and you died, like first conflict. You walked up to a bunch of banditos and you said, "Hey guys, a bunch of thugs," and they pulled guns, and you pulled guns, and they pulled guns, and all of a sudden there was death.
Right, and it meant my death. Yeah.
And it was rocking though.
Right. No, it was great for the story because I was really cool with it.
Yeah.
And I found a way to weave it in, and that wasn't I didn't die right there though. Like I ended up taking the body of somebody's son back home, and then they shot me there. So yeah, I mean,
that's written into the Dogs in the Vineyard system. That when you get the 20 Fallout points, you actually get to set up your death scene or just die right there.
Right. I'm not saying that there are systems that do this very well. I'm just saying, what do you do if you are using a system? Because I know you have in the past.
Yes.
Where you've used a system where it has come down to a roll that means character death. And when you are faced with that, do you let the character die? Or do you fudge the roll to save your story?
Here's the deal. When you fudge, you give off a pheromone, the fudging pheromone. This is scientific fact here. I'm not making this up.
All right.
And when you give off the fudging pheromone, your players, they smell it. They know you're giving. They know you're fudging. You think they're stupid? You wouldn't be gaming with them if they were stupid. Well, maybe you would. But that's not either here nor there. You give off this pheromone, and they know you're fudging. And from there on in, your die rolls cease to really have dramatic impact, in my humble opinion.
Right. Well, no, I agree with you partially. I'm playing devil's advocate here a little bit.
Yeah, no, I dig.
I think also that when you fudge, that your players will try and fudge their own dice rolls once in a while.
Maybe.
I've caught players doing that. Not my. I won't say who or what,
right?
But I have caught players saying, oh, I rolled a, and then I'll like look over where their die is, and they'll be like, it'll be a different number, and I'm like,
and that's definitely a sign of systemic frustration.
Yeah,
know?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I like playing games recently where the system is working with me, where we are all floating in the same direction, and the system is helping us push us downstream towards lake fun.
Right.
To keep the water metaphor going, flowing, if you will.
Okay.
And if you're fudging, man, your system is failing you.
Okay.
That's all there is to it.
So let me ask you this.
All right.
Because you sound like you're against fudging dice rolls.
I am. No. Well, yes. I am personally. I don't do it anymore.
Right.
And I think.
But you have in the past.
I have in the past.
Right.
And
okay.
I think if you are doing it, you need to think. You need to really think about what that means and what, why roll dice at all at that point.
Right.
Because your die rolls cease to mean that much if you can just disregard it. It's like, why play with rules if you can just say, no, not well. We follow the rules most of the time, but not this time when it really matters.
I've also heard a few people talk about interesting ways to deal with those type of dice rolls as well. So let's say, for example, you're playing in a system and you make a roll and it ends up being like horribly opposite of what you want to happen. I have heard of people coming up with ways to kind of bend it a little bit.
Then why roll? Then why roll? If you were rolling and there was a chance of something happening that you didn't want to happen, why are you rolling? Why are you rolling, dude? Why?
You're.
I feel very strongly about this.
No, I understand.
And I'm going to get lots of... If anything gets us nasty emails, like traditional gamers are going to flip about this. When I bring this up, traditional gamers flip out. And good, let them. We can use the emails.
People roll dice because this is how we figure out... We add in that chance aspect.
Right.
Okay. And I think a lot of game masters, not everybody, I don't want to pigeonhole everyone.
Right.
Okay. But a lot of game masters kind of work the numbers, like gambling.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you say, okay, well, I can put them in this situation and this will most likely happen, or this, or this, or this.
Right.
And then once in a while, it goes completely different, and they're like, oh my god, what can I do? And then their brain goes, maybe it's just a matter of that it's like right there at that moment, and they don't have they can't think of something quick.
I totally dig. I've been there. And that moment when you're like, oh my god, this is not going the way I wanted, I thought it was going to,
right,
that shouldn't be a panic moment. That should be an exciting moment.
Right.
That's what keeps me DMing. That moment is what keeps me DMing.
Right. When
I put the players in a situation and they just do something that just rocks my socks, that's why I show up every Sunday.
Right.
Otherwise, I'll just stay home and write.
Right.
And I can do that without.
Well, Judd, I happen to agree with you. I don't feel like
we're arguing.
Right. No, I am just letting everybody here know.
Okay.
Because last time I kind of needed to state my opinion here.
Right.
But I also agree. I think that fudging dice rolls just shouldn't happen. Play it on the table or however you need to do it, and let the dice lie.
Right. Let it fall where it may.
Yeah, and just figure a way to work it in. And if you are playing in a game where dice rolls like that do mean life or death or whatever, something that you're not really sure where to go with, come up with a way to make it add to the story rather than subtract from it.
Right. I dig that.
Yeah.
All right. Very nice. I told you I was an opinionated mofo. I said that last week. I said, we got to talk about
That's
fudging.
cool, man.
And it's going to take a while, and it did.
So we would absolutely love to hear your opinions on that.
Yeah, if you want to
Tell us about fudging,
Yeah.
what you think about it.
sonsofkryos@yahoo.com. sonsofkryos@yahoo.com. I didn't even have it in front of me that time. I just spelled it right out.
Awesome.
Freestyling. Yeah, if you want to tell me, come on, tell me. Tell me I'm wrong. Go onto the forum. There's a link at the top of our site, at the top of the site that you downloaded this from, and jump onto the forum and just, call me out, dude. I'll have a discussion with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, rock and roll.
Nice. All right, that wraps up fudging.
Yeah, I think that does it for now.
Okay.
Cool. If we get really nasty emails or fun emails or disagreeing emails in a respectful manner, we'll try to read them next week, maybe. Next time we put on a show.
Yeah, we definitely could read them.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I don't want it to eat the whole show, but...
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Rock and roll.
This is Jared Sorensen from Memento Mori Theatrics.
And this is John Wick from the Wicked Dead Brewing Company.
And you're listening to the Sons of Kryos.
I love that music. The music is really lovely for good sentences. It's very nice. Very nice.
I'm glad you like that.
Yeah, Julie outdid herself on that one. All right, this is strange good sentences. I feel like the last two good sentences were really very much alike, and they were kind of peas in the same pod. So I wanted to kind of take a left turn and just go into a whole different direction. So this time, my good sentence it's a strange one, and that is, here's the sentence. This just isn't working out. I think we need to find you a different group to play with.
Dude, you're kicking me out of your group?
Yeah, I am. It's just not working. It's cool. You're a fun player, but it's just the style of our game doesn't mesh with your play style, and that's it. I really feel like I'm breaking up with you right now. It's really terrible.
I don't know what to say.
Here, let me hold you. Yeah,
No.
I think we need to. I think we need to, as a culture, realize when this just isn't working. Earlier, more often, and more frequently. Because if you go on, this is also a system. This is a part of the forum culture too. Like people go on forums, they don't say what a good time they're having unless it's me,
right,
and like two other people. But most people go online and they want to kvetch, to use the Yiddish term, or they want to complain. But I like kvetch better, so I'm going to use it. Kvetch is Yiddish for complain, and I think there would be less of that, less need to complain if we just realized that you don't. If it's not working, dude, just walk away. Just get that person in another group. Do something else. Go bowling.
Right.
Because there are some people who you just
don't work with. Yeah.
Don't work with. It just doesn't gel. It doesn't work together. Tony Lauer Bausch, who made the game Capes, has this great story where he talks about he had a group of friends and they had gamed together for years, and then he just said, "Listen, guys, we have to find something else to do together." I thought that was a great way to say it. Just like,
right.
I'm your friend, and I never want to stop being your friend, but the gaming isn't really rewarding for either of us anymore.
Right.
And I think we need to find something else to do. And I thought that was another great way to put it. But yeah, you just need to say this isn't working out. And there are a bunch of different ways you can go from this isn't working out. You can either talk about why and figure that out, and then go from there, and maybe solve the problem. That happens. I'd say it's fairly rare, but I'd say it happens. Or you can just say, listen, let's just go our separate ways. And if you're kicking someone out of their group, if I was going to kick someone out of my weekly group, God forbid, that's a really uncomfortable situation because there's no way not to take that personally. I would try to find them a group that more matches their style and try to ease them into that.
Right.
But it's a difficult situation. Jeff, you must have some, when you went to Louisiana, you were starting up brand new groups of people you didn't know.
Yeah, and
you must have felt this a little bit.
There was somebody I game with in Louisiana that I had to ask to leave my table.
Ooh, how'd you do it? Was he an army dude?
Yeah, dude. He was. I actually, I can't really talk much about what he does.
Oh my! Wow.
I'll just say that he was a very, very smart guy.
Right.
And I'm sure the military had a wonderful use for him.
Yeah.
But he maybe he was too smart. I don't know, but he and I and the rest of the group didn't work well with him.
Okay.
He just, it was tough.
Yeah.
So I eventually, after consulting with the rest of the group, because whenever I invite a person to my table or ask a person at my table to leave, I consult the group, because it's not just me here at the game.
Rock on. That's very democratic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I make the last decision,
right.
but I want their opinions,
right?
Because maybe I'm having an off week or whatever, or I'm just not trying hard enough, or maybe I'm being a dick to their character,
right.
and they're responding appropriately.
Uh-huh.
So I met this individual and invited him to my game, and he played for a while, and it just wasn't working out. So I spoke to my players, and then after speaking to them, I asked him to stay after one of the games, and I said, hey man, I don't really think that you're having as much fun as you could in
good
a
way
game.
To put it. All right.
And I like you as a person,
mm-hmm.
but I think that this game just might not be for you.
Right.
So I ended up being friends with him.
Very good.
And hanging out with him, and we played other types of games, we played BattleTech together, right? And being such a smart guy, he was awesome for playing BattleTech, because he just, knew all the rules and everything.
That's great.
And I still chat with him every now and then, but it was just that particular maybe it was that particular style of game. It just it didn't work out.
That's great. That's a great wrap up. I'm very happy with that. Good. You illustrated that good sentence perfectly. I that should have been your segment. Such as life.
We'll do my segment next.
Cool, and I'll dominate that.
Next podcast, yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. But excellent. Yeah.
No, hey, you know what though, Judd? You're not getting off that easy, man.
What's that?
It was a great sentence, but have you ever asked somebody to leave your table?
Oh, that's a good question. I'll tell you what, the last time I had to do that, and I didn't do it. I wasn't the leader of the party. I was 13.
Okay.
And I was in a group. My first group was all people older than me, except for my buddy Jason, who was a spaz. And he was ADHD, and he was not diagnosed at that point. And he was just a whirlwind of chaos and doom, and he would spill soda all over our books and flip out because of things that happened in game.
Jay?
Yeah.
No.
Yes. And he was intense, and he was a year younger than me. So it was me, and then a group of the large bulk of the guys were 15, 16 years old,
mm-hmm.
and then our GM was Jim, who was 21 at that point. So yeah, it was really intense. We had to get together and be listen, this isn't working,
For Jay?
For Jay, yeah, we had to boot Jay.
Wow.
We ended up letting him back when he kind of got
chilled out a little bit.
He chilled out a little bit, a little bit. But yeah, it was rough. It was really, I didn't like doing it, and nobody liked doing it. And it fell to Jim because he was the oldest.
Right.
It fell to Jim to do it.
And he was running the game too.
And he was running the game too. So it was a cruddy feeling, and I'm still friends with Jay to this day.
Yeah, dude, you game with him.
I game
still.
with him all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, he's no longer a 12-year-old ADHD kid.
Right. I've gamed with Jay, and he's a hell of a lot of fun. His characters are just full of passion. It's great.
Yeah. He's a credit to any table he's sitting at.
Yep.
But it was a rough time. He was young, and he had no self-control, and he was hyperactive, and he was it was a rough thing. And it really fell to Jim to do it. And Jim took that responsibility, and he took it very seriously. He didn't want to do it. Jim didn't want to do it at all. And but we voted, and the vote came out against Jay. And I don't remember how I voted when I was there, but it was rough. It was a rough thing. So no, I've really never had to do it as the leader. I've been really blessed in Ithaca with the groups that I've come across. I've just had nothing but good luck in Ithaca with my games, and the games I've run and the games that I've fallen into. I mean, it's just been nuts. So I've been very lucky. I consider myself just very lucky in this town. So yeah.
Wow, man, so
I've never had to do it, but I think it's something that we need to do. Be ready to do more. And also just in the gaming community, be ready to say, hey, this player is not having very much fun in my game. Maybe they'd have more fun in yours. I would love it if there was this network of players and GMs and people who were in more constant communication. And
right, because
and
what may not work for your group might work in somebody else's. Totally.
Absolutely. I mean, I look at the other games at the Get Your Geek On-a-thon, and the way John runs his Urban Arcana game is just a world apart from the way I run my game.
Right.
And his players have a load of fun, but it's very different than the way my weekly game or my one-shot games work.
Right.
And that's not to say that John's a bad GM. Not at all. It's just that we have very different styles. So who knows, So yeah, I would love for the subculture to work that way and the society kind of here in Ithaca. But we're not quite there yet. We're getting there.
Yeah, we're definitely making progress.
Yeah, it's coming along. Coming along.
Awesome.
Shall we talk about, are we going to do, what's next, Jeff?
What's next? Well, after this break, we're going to talk about food and gaming, I think.
All right.
Yeah, because you've had some interesting things come up recently, and food is a big concern, and
It is. So,
and
all right.
we'll talk about that in a moment. We'll be right back.
This is Luke Crane of The Burning Wheel. You're listening to the Sons of Kryos podcast, and your computer is on fire!
Okay, we're back.
All right. Talk about food and gaming this time?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, food and it's a big part of our subculture, man. But what kind of pizza do we want? And it started. I mean,
I don't like pizza. Can we order something else?
What kind of? You really don't like pizza?
I don't really dig pizza.
What did you do when we all ordered pizza?
I ate it. I mean, if that's
You're
what
just not that-
everybody goes
Right.
with, I'll
I
eat
can
it,
no
but-
longer eat pizza. So the reason this topic came up for me is I just got diagnosed with celiac disease, which means I'm gluten intolerant, which pretty much means I can't eat wheat, which pretty much means I can't eat, anything. I mean,
I told you can still eat steak, right?
Yeah, dude, why don't you go try to order out steak from a pizza place? Do that. I want you to. Just call up Domino's and be like, yeah, I'd like a steak. Gluten-free, please.
Burgers? Without the bread?
Who delivers burgers? Does McDonald's deliver now?
No.
I wouldn't eat
But
McDonald's.
there are places that do deliver burgers.
Whatever, dude.
Like
I can't
Windsor
take a
Restaurant?
chance. I cannot take a chance on
Right.
that it's glutened. You don't even know what that does to my week. It
Right.
kills it. So it has reminded me of what a big part of food is in not only gaming culture but all culture. I mean, going out to dinner is just a huge deal. It's this big social event. But let's bring it back to what this podcast is about, which is food and gaming.
Right.
And it's a huge deal. And I remember from my youngest days ordering pizza with the group, and someone vegetarian, someone have dietary objections, someone just not like pepperoni. It was this big democratic thing that we had to go through.
Right.
And then with the Ars Magic game we used to play back in the day, which I think was my most socially successful game, just because
Right.
it was just 9 people who just adored each other.
Right.
And we played for 12 hours at a clip, and we were young and we were dumb, and it was just fun. Young, dumb, and fun. It's a good combination, good group of things.
Right.
And-
JJ would come over and cook breakfast, and all of us would bring something.
I would
once
wake
in a
up.
while.
I would wake up that morning, and JJ would already be in the kitchen. He would have gotten the key for me, or just let himself in, and he'd be cooking up bacon and cooking up hash browns. And JJ was born to be in front of a big batch of food and be serving people.
Totally
He
be a
loves
cook.
that. He loves that stuff. He loves being, Big Daddy JJ and feeding people and seeing his friends eat and enjoy it. He likes it. He's very nurturing in that way.
Yep.
And the Ars Magica breakfast, it was huge. It was a huge part of why that game was great. It's just because it was just 8 or 9 people who just enjoyed each other so much. And that breakfast was a big part of what brought us together. We'd all get cruise on in around 10 or 11, and we'd eat, and then we'd kind of chill, and then we'd start gaming around noon. And and it was just great. It was just so much fun. I just remember that being a big part of that game. And then more recently, we would do this thing with the old Riddle of Steel game where we would rotate who cooks every week, and that was really cool. That was a nice thing that brought us all together. So I just been thinking about gaming and food and what a big part of it, because breaking bread with somebody is a big deal, so,
right.
So to speak. And
So let's talk a little bit about food, the actual gaming food, because I know there's this food stereotype of gamers, which is pizza, chips,
Right.
soda.
And I think we've definitely moved
Beyond that.
because I'm not 13 anymore. My body can't tolerate that stuff.
Right.
I mean, we've got a gamer at the table who's diabetic.
Right.
You know, we've moved on to grapes, and I like, corn tortilla chips.
Yep.
And fruit is a very big one.
Oh yeah.
Maybe like a vegetable and dip.
Yeah.
Just getting stuff at the table that's a little bit better for you.
When I ran my group down in Louisiana, a game for them, my wife would cook for us once in a while, and she would make these wonderful meals. Like she would make like a couple of side dishes and a main dish.
Nice.
And
it's a big deal for a group of guys.
Right, and she makes healthy meals, She wouldn't just throw a microwave pizza.
Right.
But she would make something really nice.
She's a heck of a cook.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And it went over really well with me and most of my players. But, it's tough when you do that for people. So, I mean, the players were distracted with the game, and, some people aren't as vocal with their appreciation as other people.
You gotta say thank
you. So she ended up quitting
Good for her.
Just because there
sounds
wasn't
like
enough thank yous.
She heard my good sentence.
Yeah,
she just said this isn't working out.
Right, she did. She must have. And I totally agree with her. But back to just food in general, as far as the group, I think it's a really good idea for people to add in, or not add in, to bring something that can be shared.
Yeah.
Obviously people have their own requirements as far as what they can eat,
Yeah.
But, if you're going to bring it, bring to share.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you can.
No. That's the best way to go.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been very fond of bringing, I like grapes and corn tortillas are the two things I've been taking on lately. I think I'm going to move on to those little carrots and maybe some hummus. It's just good stuff. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I tend to bring sweets. I go to the farmer's market and pick up a lot of sweet stuff. So
okay.
I don't know.
Something to think about.
Look into that.
We've got some dietary restrictions now at the table.
Yeah.
One person's vegetarian, another person is diabetic. I'm gluten intolerant.
Right.
We've got a lot to think about. There's a very narrow margin of stuff we can eat.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right.
Cool. If you have anything to add to our discussion about food and gaming, shoot us an email.
Please.
We've given you the link on our website to contact us, and feel free to shout out your opinion on the forum as well.
Sure. All right. We've gotten some great. Next, we're moving on, and we got some great feedback on email, which is very nice.
Yeah, we've got some email from people who I never met before. Don't know who they are, but they listen to the show. So people are listening to our show we don't even know. I mean, oh my gosh, that's
very nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and it was nice to get an email from someone who I was a fan of their show, Paul Tevis from Have Games Will Travel.
Right.
Emailed us, which was really cool, and his email was unadulteratedly positive and wonderful.
Yeah,
which is really cool because I'm a fan, man. Paul Tevis's show is one of the ones that I listen to.
I also listen to his show.
Yes,
I try and listen to as many podcasts as I can. Honestly,
his review is intense. I mean, when he reviews a game,
he really reviews a game.
He has the game designer's blood type, in the review.
Yeah,
it's intense.
Yeah,
he sticks his arms into the game up to his elbows and really goes into it, which is cool. It's neat to see somebody really not It's an intense review. And,
I really hope to bump into him at a convention at some point in the future.
If nothing else, Gen Con.
Yeah.
There's always Gen Con.
Yeah, if he's a Gen Con,
that's where
definitely.
we can all get together.
But he also sent us a couple of bumpers
hopefully
that we're using in the show.
Yeah.
You will have heard them, and so we're gonna give him a couple. So he'll
and we've been mentioned on some live journals. John Wick and Jared Sorensen, of course, mentioned us, and Michael Miller, who did a great game called With Great Power.
Right.
Which I'll have in the link page. He mentioned us in his live journal and talked
Monty
about...
Cook even had something on his website.
Yeah, I haven't been able to... it's hard to track down. It's been hard.
There's so much stuff there. I mean, there's just absolutely everyone that he talks to or whatever is on that.
It was our Gen Con interview he mentioned.
I couldn't find it either, but it's there somewhere.
Yeah,
Google tells me so.
He emailed us after the interview and said that he liked it, and maybe we can track him down and get his thoughts on Gen Con to become a little tradition.
Right.
But I was very. It's just very nice to get emails from folks, and all kinds of folks have been emailing us. Very, very nice. So thank you very much. Keep it up. Drop us a line. Let us know what you think is good or what you think.
Or just tell us that you're listening to the show.
Yeah.
It would be really neat to just get some feedback from people, or even if you just want to say hi, so we get kind of an idea of who's out there and something. Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing we like better than emailing about gaming. I mean, that's like the greatest thing in the world. So just drop us an email. We'll forward it to our personal account and just say, hey, thanks.
Yep.
So,
wonderful.
All right. I think we're about out of time, aren't we?
Yeah.
Wow, we were like clockwork. You said you wanted to be 45 minutes, and we are like 44 minutes and 29 seconds now.
Awesome.
Rock and roll.
So we're gonna wrap this up, folks. And if you have any email that you would like to send us, you can email it to
sonsofkryos@yahoo.com. That is sonsofkryos@yahoo.com.
And that's all one word.
Yes, indeed.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Judd.
Thank you for listening.
Yep, thank you very much.